Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a diagnostics video with wire diagrams and explanation on how to test a fuse box on a 2008 Mitsubishi Raider. This is the same on the Dodge Dakota. They use almost the same fuse box, let's say. This also has a module connected to it that's called the FCM, but we'll see this in the diagram. So yes, the customer concerned, this is a local customer, local shop. They have a no start condition. So they said that they check all the wiring and everything lead to believe that we have a problem on the fuse box, which is also the relay box and everything, right? So I'm doing a test for them and for you, so you understand how this is in the vehicle, and also how you can do a test like this in case you have a problem, to narrow it down if it's a wiring, if it's a starter, if it's a computer, or what are we missing in here, right? So let's do it. All right, so let's, as I normally do, let me just show you everything connected, and you're going to see a few things in here that I have at. So for a better visual, I have at a test light connected on as the load instead of the starter. So this test light is connected to terminal 87, which is coming from the relay, right? When the relay closes, terminal 30. And let me just explain you what those terminal 30 and 87 means. Terminal 30 across the board on any vehicle is constant battery power. Terminal 87 is a power that goes through a relay. So they call that terminal 87 because it will have power only when the latch or the relay closes, and then the terminal 30 becomes one with 87. When it's open, there's no power in there until the relay is commanded on, right? So a power through a relay. Then you have two other terminals that are terminal 86, which is usually constant battery, an ignition or battery power, right? So it could be a constant power. It all depends on the manufacturer design, but it will be positive side control of the relay because the relay has a coil, right? It needs power and ground. When that relay has power and ground, it collapses, it creates a magnetic field that pulls that contactor, right? And it closes the switch, which is a relay, is also a switch, and then closes terminal 30 together with 87, right? So that's how it works. The control side is terminal 86, again, positive side, and terminal 85, negative side. Again, that relay, that control side is a coil and needs a power and a ground to be commanded on. And we'll see that on the diagram, okay? So you understand a little better. I have in place or the relay here. I also have a tool. This is a Lyle set. Let me just show it to you. This is the master set from Lyle. It has, most of the manufacturers, probably more of the domestic ones, is the Lyle. The kit is 60660. That has, again, let me just open it for you. It has that inside. It has a plier so you don't damage the relays, and it has different relays in here. I have other relays for Europeans, more like BMW and Mercedes, because they change the position of the terminals. But nicely done from Lyle is that we can put the relay, the original relay, onto this socket, and that allows me, because this is a tool, right? They had all those terminals accessible in the top in here, so I can then use the relay itself. And you can see how they have a jumper on the green wire, because it's usually the one you're going to touch and to command the relay on or so, right? So that's how you usually do it. There is also a fifth pin in this relay. So we have terminal 30, which is the long one in here. And then we have two terminals in here. It's 87 and 87A. 87 is normally open, and terminal 87A is normally closed. So the way that works is if I use a multimeter, which I have here, I'm going to put it into continuity, and then it's the same as ohm. I'm going to press in here for the beep to work. Let me see if the light, I think maybe the light will be better for you. When I touch this on, you see how it's now reading resistance, but it's also giving us a beep. So if we touch terminal 30 with the outside, it should not beep because it's open, but it should beep because in this one, you see, and it does. So that's a normally close in between that. This vehicle doesn't use it. This has only 85, 86, terminal 30, and terminal 87, but this relay has that. So when it's command on, right, and as normal without being commanded on, this will be closed. When this is commanded on by the control side, providing power and ground, it will close the latch in between 30 and 87, but 87A will be open, and no, it will be no beeping here. But we cannot test that in this when it's installed because we don't have it installed. And I have another tool that has all the 5 pins. All right, so we're going to solve this back into the relay, and it has also a position. All right, so now also, so you understand how I have this installed, green is going to be for terminal 85, ground. The yellow will be terminal 86, ignition or power, and this blue is terminal 87. So you understand that. The power is going through the box. We have a main power on a big cable here. This is a constant battery power coming directly from the battery. That will feed most of the fuses in here, even without the ignition. And I'm going to prove that. Let me open some information so you can see it. Let me create a window. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, guys. So to make it easier for you, I put the view of the top of the fuse box and also the relay, so we see better, or you will see better, what am I going to show you, right? So, okay, so on the right side, because I cannot hover with an arrow or anything to show you where I am, but if we see the fuse relay, which is on the upper section of that image, you see a fuse that says fuse 39 is a 30 amp. So fuse 39, let me get something to show you or to point. Fuse 39, if we see the image on the left side right here, right? Look for the number 39 is right here. So it's right next to the starter relay, which this is the starter relay. And then if you look at that at the same image and look at the bottom reading, it says the fourth one, it says the starter relay. So this is the starter relay, that the one I just showed you. The power, if we go over to this in here, 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so the power, the terminal 30 power is coming through a fuse, obviously for protection. And this is the fuse 39 in here. So I'm going to touch terminal 30, which is the only one. I have no cable here because we don't really need it, but so it is right here. And if I go into the terminal 30, which I can access from the back, you see right there in my multimeter, hopefully you can hear the beep. But look at the image. Right now it's on an open line. And if I touch in here, it's reading 0.1. So perfectly shorted. So this and that is the same. And the other part is, if I touch here, sure, yeah. Now I'm touching the other side of the fuse to the main battery voltage, and it's shorted. So that means it's coming directly from there. So now I'm going to put that fuse, if I find it, where I put it. Oh, it's covered by the cables. So this is fuse 39, which is a 30 amps. So pink on these designs are 30 amps or 30 amperes. I'm just going to stick that in there. Now we know that this from here to here is good, and from here to the relay box is good. So no problems on that. So first, we're going to do a continuity test. The next we need to do is check each wire. So, okay, if I touch in here, that green one, which is the ground, is it going through the box in its way out? And I'm connected from underneath on each of the connectors. I'm going to show you in a little bit. Looking at the diagram where the relay is, 85 will come from the computer. It says at the bottom, module powertrain, connector C3, pin 38. So the computer is the one that's providing that ground. And that ground goes over to connector C1, pin 11, on the fuse box or integrated power module. That's how Mitsubishi called them. All right, so we're going to touch in here, and this should beep and show the same shorter, right? If I touch in here, and we can see that in there too. So that means I'm in the correct wire, and there is no break in between these 2 points. So far, the fuse box up to those points is good. The next one is, we can check either one. So I got the yellow one, which is pin 86, is in connector C2, pin 5, and that is in the relay of the starter, which is, let me see, it's a little hard sometimes to show you right there, like right here on the right side of the image, right on the upper section. So what it says B, that should be a power. All right, so I'm going to touch in here and touch into 85, 86. And we got no break on that wire either. So from here to the connector, there is no problems. So this is definitely not looking at as a problem in here. So I'm going to touch the other wire, which is the blue one, terminal 87. And we got the same short, and the beep. And that is going from the relay out into connector C5, P9, and I'm exactly on those pins. And I'm going to show you when I finish doing the test that everything is as I said. And I put this in here mostly to show you that continuity test. Now the final test will be to power this up. I have everything ready, so I can provide power. So I have already connected main power to here. I have a ground connected to the test light because the relay is going to provide terminal 87 with power. So that will light up if the relay closes. And this is just to test the relay because the fuse box is good. We already know the fuse box is good. So terminal 87, we should have power on terminal 86. And I connected that to power right here. Terminal 85, in the other hand, I have not connected because that's the ground side coming from the computer, right, on pin C111. So if I touch this and everything is as I check and that relay is good, that light should light up. And it's lighting up. So Piedmont, this is for a shop, Piedmont in Virginia. There is absolutely nothing running here, not even with the box or with the starter relay. So everything in here is testing as good. And yeah, guys, so let me unplug this. And now we have no issues in here. So you can do these tests pretty easy, pretty simple. It's knowing a little bit of, how to read the diagrams. And just rig, powers and grounds and have a tool like this, because this makes it very easy. You don't have to have this tool, but it's very handy to have, the relay in place and then a nice area where you can put all these jumpers to test if you want, because I put this because it makes it easy for us to read, with a multimeter, right? But you don't really need to because they have each port in here. Let me put the relay back in the box. And again, this has position. It cannot be installed in another way. Let me kill the power so we don't short anything because I'm going to unplug this alligator clip. I can remove the test light so we can flip this box around. And I just going to disconnect the cable that might drag anything in here. And I'm going to show you when I was connected. Make sure I didn't bend any pins. That's fine. So it's just a terminal. And that's because of the weight. So this is connector C1 right here. And this is pin 1. So if we go, connector C2. Yeah, this is connector C1 is here. Connector C2 is right here. Thank you, Mama. My mother-in-law just brought me coffee. All right, so connector C2, pin 5, if we go over to the diagram that you have on the right, and I can Yeah, because I will have to open a window. It's a little hard because I cannot hover in there. But you can see it also feeds the computer on connector C1 pin 30, but that's just a constant, or let's say I cannot say it's a constant because I cannot see where it's coming from. If it's a constant power or if it's an ignition, I don't know that. But I can check that if I supply power in there, the relay works. So the only thing that I cannot check in here, it will be the computer. Is it the computer sending that ground to command the starter? I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how they did the test on the car, but this is all checked perfectly. So there is no damage in here. Power is going through. The starter should work. The starter relay should work, and you can do this test in the vehicle, in your house, anywhere you want. This is pretty easy to do. And I hope that you guys like this content. I was going to show you also all the information that I have gathered. So let me move you over to here. This is a nice space that I found in Identifix where I was gathering all those pictures, right? So I'm just going to go slowly so you can, if you need to snap watch it. And in here I can hover with a hand, or I can put, a red box so you can see. Again, this is the starter relay that I was referring before. It says the starter relay right here, and then fuse 39 is here, right? So this is the fuse 39 that it comes with power for that starter, for the starter relay. This is the connector. No, so this is the fuse. Sorry, let me just keep going. Because if we go here to 30, what was it, 39, it just says internal. It says the power is coming internally. That's it, it's a 30 amp, it's a fuse battery positive. If we go going, I'm just going to go a little slow, but not that slow. You can always stop the video. We have also the connector, because this fuse box, or integrated power module, they call, it plugs in into what they call the front control module, and that has all these pinouts. There is no communication that I can see here into anything. So if maybe that module itself has communication to establish communication with the vehicle, I'm not sure, because again, I don't have the entire vehicle, and I'm not here to spend hours and hours on testing the entire car. So all I can check is their concern, no start activation, no crank, no start. So with this, definitely this is not a problem. Going down into the rest of the pages, again, that has actually, it says module front at the end, it's actually 49 pins. And this is where I was getting, again, all these nice wire diagrams. And I'm just going to go slowly to where I found the one for the starter, which is here. So again, at the bottom, we have the ECM, or power control module, right? Pin C3, connector C3, pin 38 is the ground that will supply the control. This is the control side. And you will see this in the diagrams, on electrically diagrams. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. When it's the control side, you will see this kind of like a winding wire in there. That's a coil. And then the contactor, they put this like the contact, right? So that's very easy to see, right? If you have a fuse in here, that means that this is power side. So that is no doubt about it. And then the same thing in here. This is terminal 30. Is the fuse 39 that I was talking about, the 30 amp. So that's now how you know where I got everything. So and all the connectors and pins are all marked in this diagram. And we got more in here, but realistically, there is no more information that we need to see as far as that. The other thing that I also look into it was, because I have another PDF in there with all the connectors on this box, to see if it was any CON high or CON low or any communication going into this fuse box. This is connector 1. And this is all the cavities. On that connector is a 20 pin. There is no CON bus or CON low or anything that shows me any communication. If we go over to connector 2, it's another 20 pin. And we go into everything. It's just fuses and grounds and relays, controls and transmission control, but no communication. Connector 3 is a 40 pin. And you can see the image is a little blurry on the pins, but it's enough to decipher how it looks into the connector. And at least they show you is 3 pins. This is probably a picture of the PDF or maybe a very low quality PDF. But again, looking into all the pins that I see here, there is absolutely nothing that says communication. So it's just power, power, power from relay output, fuse ignition, and everything. This is connector C3. So going into connector C4, and this is my homework, and I hope that you guys take the idea of what not having the vehicle with all the connectors and cables, and also older vehicles, especially a Mitsubishi. There is not an American car. Mitsubishis, they don't have that much information, and then I'm going to show you and identify this very minimum information. But again, connector C4, great. There is nothing to establish communication. So I cannot see any communication wires in here. And then the last is connector C5, which is another 40 pin. And if we you read all those, it says just fuses function. It says no. Oh, well, it says fuse, starters, relay output, fuse, ground, fuse run, ground, shift control, backup lamp, fuse. Yeah, there is absolutely not one line in all these, even on the FCM connected to this, because I don't know if that module has another connector that goes over to the vehicle there, but there is no communication with the scanner to this fuse box, or to the fuse control module, or front control module, not fuse control module, that I can see on these diagrams. And this I'm doing also to try to help the technician that is working on this car. To now I show him, how is the way to do this test. And if he tell me it's like, Mike, that's exactly how I did it and it didn't work well, then load it back in the car and show me, maybe send me a picture or a short video to see exactly what am I missing, because the starter, everything is there. So if you have power on that, disregarding everything else on this fuse box, if you have that constant power, battery power through that fuse, which is not blowing, right? I checked that and it's good. In terminal 30 on the relay, that is number one thing you need. Then you're going to need the terminal 87 going out to the starter. You can measure from there to there, and we measure and it's good. And then the only thing now you need is the other battery or ignition power, which is the yellow wire, right? And the control coming from the computer. You can even remove the rest of the fuses. The starter should click and should start if you provide that, like I did in here. So that's what I mean. So I don't need to check the entire box for his concern. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you like the content. I'm trying to express and to share as much of my knowledge I can to all the technicians and people that has interest in electronics and testing your own vehicles. I hope you like the content. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.